What's up, guys, and welcome to this segment of Pinckney's Prospects. I'm Billy Pinckney, and today we're joined by Houston Astros prospect Taylor Jones. Taylor, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's start off by talking about your time in college. You attended Gonzaga University. You want to talk about the experience that you had playing there?
Yeah, I enjoyed it at Gonzaga. I kind of went in as a two-way player, primarily really on the mound pitching,
Right.
and kind of had some difficulty on the mound, had some arm trouble, ended up transitioning to full-time position player, and then kind of just transitioned from the college level to the professional level just as a position player. And I enjoyed my time there. I really enjoyed the environment that the coaches provided and the players that ran through the system. And it was a great 4 years.
Right. How tough was that transition from pitching to then becoming a full-time hitter?
Honestly, the transition wasn't very tough. It was tougher trying to manage both at the same time. And I feel like once I really just kind of put all my eggs in one basket when I decided that I wasn't going to pitch anymore, it really actually became easier because I was now able to focus more on one than trying to divide my time and conquer. So the transition really wasn't too difficult. Obviously, I had to learn how to think more like a position player and more like a hitter instead of being on the mound. But I also think that kind of helped, being that, I had some perspective from pitching to hitters and trying to get those guys out. It helped on the other side where I'm trying to figure out what a pitcher might throw me.
And in 2016, the Astros drafted you in the 19th round. Can you talk about when you found out that you were drafted?
Yeah, I was just at home hanging out with the parents. And I actually missed my name being called. We were kind of sitting, hanging out in the living room, and my parents' ears kind of perked up. We were talking about something else, and they just said, "Oh, they just said your name. I think you just got drafted." So I kind of missed my name being read, but then we played it back. But it was exciting. It was a cool feeling just to know that all the hard work had paid off and got an opportunity to play at the professional level.
Yeah, and when looking at your stats from 2017 and 2018, it looks like you made some adjustments to perform better at an even higher level. What were some of the adjustments that you had to make during that offseason?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a transition between kind of what I had going on in the box as a college player and then moving towards more of a professional atmosphere. And so changing my swing had to happen. And we kind of went through some mechanic changes, which it kind of took me a little while to get down and kind of make my own. I was trying to figure out what the organization wanted me to do and then how I could kind of mesh it into my swing that I had already. Because I was a good college hitter, but the way I was swinging, the way I was hitting didn't really translate to the pro game. And so obviously I had to, make some adjustments. And once I figured out those adjustments, once I was able to kind of make them my own, was when I really started performing well.
Now, not last year, but the year before in AAA, you had a great year. You hit 291 with 22 big flies. So what would you say are some qualities that you must have in AAA?
I just tried to be a difficult hitter, just try to be a tough out. When I have to shorten up and make contact and find hits, do that. But then also, I'm a long levered guy. I got a lot of levers. And so I kind of use that to my advantage for some pop and some power. And I think moving forward is just kind of knowing when I got to take my shots and maybe take advantage of bad pitches a little bit more often. I think I did a pretty good job in AAA, but there was room for improvement for sure. And I identify where I could get better at that. And hopefully I could, translate that to the big league level.
Right. And you just mentioned that you're a tall guy, 6'7". Do you feel that your height has impacted your ability to play this game in a positive way?
Yeah, I think just from a physics standpoint, if you have long levers, it helps with, power and extension and all that stuff. You want to talk about plate coverage and all that. Obviously, being tall and long helps. Obviously, there are some difficulties in being bigger, depending on, what you're talking about. When you want to talk about guys beating me inside, sometimes that's an issue just because I do have a lot of ground to cover with all my mechanics and all my long arms and whatnot. So I think more than anything, it's a positive and it's an advantage. But you just have to learn how to work with your body when you're a big guy like me.
Now, this past minor league season was canceled, but you actually had an opportunity with the big league club. Can you talk about the experience that you had playing in the major leagues?
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously, it was a weird year, a weird situation for everybody. But it was an awesome experience to be around the club, to be around the guys. It was unforgettable. I don't think you can ever downplay your debut and downplay your first season up in the big leagues at all, even though it might have been kind of the beta version of the big leagues without fans and the crowd interacting. It's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I had a blast.
Now, when did you find out that you were getting called up? Because there's no AAA. It's not like you could be called in and being told by your AAA manager. So were you at the alternate site?
Yeah, we had just actually shown up to the alternate site after breaking from summer camp, because it was the second game into the season when I got called up. And so, we had just gotten there. We hadn't even had any workouts or anything like that. We were just sitting out in the hotel, and it was late at night. I got a knock on my door, and they told me I was going to Houston in the morning. So it was exciting. It was a little bit of an exciting moment, and having the family not be able to come was kind of a bummer, but to get on the phone and be able to tell them and get them all excited for me going up was pretty awesome.
Right. What kind of takeaways were you able to take away from that experience in the big leagues?
All sorts of stuff. I mean, just kind of the preparation that goes on with some of those guys and the professionalism. Obviously, they have a job that they're trying to achieve, and they go about it as such. They make sure that they're prepared. They make sure that they're doing what they got to do to get ready for every game. And we had a lot of good role models, I think, in that clubhouse. A lot of guys that you could look up to, like a Brantley or a Springer, and even some of the younger stars, like Correa and Bregman. There's just a crazy list of guys, and then you got someone like Jose Altuve, just a list of guys, and you could go down the whole lineup. And what I would really do is just kind of peep everyone's game and just kind of pick apart things that I could add that they do to my own game, or just kind of take mental notes about how they prepare for themselves.
Now, throughout your baseball journey, who have been some figures who have influenced your game along the way?
Oh man, there's a ton of people, from coaches to obviously my parents, to players that I've gone through the system with, from players that I've played at the college level with. I mean, that's the one thing about baseball, and you learn pretty quickly, is that there's such a network and such a connection. You could meet somebody that you're meeting for the first time, but they know 5 other guys that you've played with, or that through your career. And so trying to come up with a list of solid influences is pretty tough, just because there's been so many. And there's so many people that have had their hand in this pot, and have helped me get to where I've gotten. So obviously, starting with Gonzaga, there's a great environment there, great coaches, great support system, a great handful of players that I learned how to play at a high level from. And then getting into the pro system, I think the Astros have done a great job with their staff members and the coaches that they've had. I've learned a ton from those guys and the organization. And then also the guys that I played with. I mean, there's a ton of talent in this organization, not only at the big league level, but throughout the whole minor league system. And you just kind of learn as much as you can. And that's really what you got to do, is just pick up little bits of information here and there on your way, and then just kind of mold it into your own game.
In a few sentences, how would you describe your game and yourself as a player?
A few sentences. I try to be athletic, smooth, and powerful. Those are really kind of the things that I try to hone in on. I think every player should kind of figure out what you do and just try to get really good at those things. And defensively, I try to be smooth. I try to be athletic. I try to be versatile. I'm trying to play more positions now, even though I was drafted as a first baseman. And then just at the plate, just trying to be a tough out and trying to use my leverage to produce some power and be a good contact hitter when I have to be.
And the last question I want to ask you today is, what advice you would give to a younger player, whether in high school or college, who might be going through that process of recruitment or getting drafted?
Yeah, just be open-minded, and always just carry yourself in a professional manner. When I mean being open-minded, just have just like especially at the college, when you're a high schooler looking at the colleges, be open-minded to different opportunity. Sometimes you don't always get presented the opportunity that you want, but through other avenues and through other pathways, you're going to find that if you work hard and stay dedicated, you're going to find your way through. And then be professional. Like at the end of the day, we're kids playing a game. We're just big kids playing a game, you know? And so you got to have that fine line of, acting goofy and playing as a kid, but then also being very professional, because at the end of the day, you got people that are looking up to you, and it's a job. It's a fun job and it's an awesome job, but you got to be professional. And I think that's one thing that has helped serve me through my career.
Great stuff. Taylor, I appreciate you coming on, and enjoy the offseason.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
All right. So all you guys watching, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Pinckney's Prospects.